Hey everybody, good morning. This is Joey at Boomtown, also known as Giuseppe. Thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate you joining. We got a really good webinar this morning. You know, we're a lot of the talk has been about around contactless payments, the ability to take payments without having to interact with a human, passing a card back and forth. So I have two special guests on today that are gonna focus on that. They're gonna talk about their products and how they're obviously making a lot of momentum given the pandemic, and obviously just having great products in general. So we're going to jump right into that. But I want to do real quickly, again, just go over the agenda. We got Grubbrr, the self-ordering kiosk, and we got Advanced Mobile Payments, which is a smart terminal. Both are here in the U.S. working with resellers, and they have a lot of great strategic channels. So you might even be working with some of the groups that they're already working with. We're going to do an update on cash discount with SwipeSimple. Short update on basically getting walked through the new Point HQ for some of you who haven't seen it, because I know a lot of you do sell SwipeSimple and Point through Boomtown. And at the end, we'll do questions. During the webinar, feel free to go to the questions tab and ask questions. I will try to, monitor those questions and make sure that we're asking our guests those questions as well. And if you have anything that we miss, I'll basically go through at the end and email answers to any of the questions, especially if it's around pricing, or if it's around a partnership, something that has nothing to do with the actual education today, more just from a partnership perspective between our team and your team. So let's dive into it. Real quickly, for those new partners, if you don't know really who Boomtown is, if you sign up for our reseller program, we started as a field service team. We actually built a platform where you could go in there and you could dispatch technicians nationwide. Then we built a remote support team where we do outsource support for all different types of payment solutions. And then we built basically activation and training team. So we work with a bunch of different brands, and we basically help them as much as we possibly can with supporting their products out in the field. And then the second half of our, second half of Boomtown, and really what we created in the last few years, is our software platform, where a lot of these organizations will use our software to support their own merchants. So if you have any interest in any of that, feel free to reach out to me directly after this. Happy to obviously expand that conversation and go into what we actually do for a lot of our partners. And then for those who are just in our reseller channels who can sell Point and SwipeSimple through Boomtown, excited to tell you about some other new products that we'll be helping push out in the field here shortly. So again, before we get into our first guest, feel free to go to the questions tab and write questions as we go through. I will send this deck, I will send a recording to anyone who signed up, whether they're here right now or if they missed the webinar. I'll make sure that you all get the email, and I'll have a YouTube video for you to watch, or your team to watch, in the case that someone on your team missed it. All right, so our first guest, we're going to talk about Grubbrr. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pass over the controls to my friend Behaven here, and we're going to jump right into it and talk about the Grubbrr self-ordering kiosk product. So give me one moment. And David, you should have controls, and I'll confirm when I see your screen. And thanks for joining this morning.
Yes, thank you.
So I see a white screen right now. Give me one moment. I'm
going to share it again. White. Just a second. Yes.
No, no worries. Okay. Yep, there we are. I just saw it.
Yeah, no, for some reason, full screen, it's just showing. It's okay. I'll just stay in this PowerPoint mode.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much. I can definitely see your screen now. Obviously, thanks for joining us today. We have heard great things about your product. I know that your team actually demonstrated your product at ETA about a year ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's super simple. I love that it's easier for the user to use when they're actually, when they're checking themselves out. So would love to just get a quick introduction of the company and quick introduction of yourself, and tell us a little bit about Grubbrr.
Sure. Thanks. This is Bhavin Asher. I'm founder, CTO at Grubbrr. I also have Farshad with me in the room. He's our chief strategy officer. But Grubbrr started around 3 years ago with focus on self-ordering technology, right? So we are like, hey, how can we take the cashier away, or how can we operationalize the restaurant and make the operation simple in the restaurant? And that's where we started. We actually, because it's a platform, we can scale from SMB to enterprise. So we can go sell our kiosk in a coffee shop, or we can also go install it at Panda or at McDonald's, for example. So, and that's the beauty of the platform, where we don't customize the hardware or we don't customize the software, it's configuration, and we are hardware agnostic. So in the POS world, with the NCRs and micros and some of the POS companies, it's always tied to the hardware and it is always tied to the software, where you are mandated to buy the hardware from the POS company, and that is where it's different. The focus was always, again, how we can improve the restaurant experience and the ordering experience. So the direct parallel which always we draw is the airports. 10 years ago, when we used to go to the airports, huge lines, very painful experience. You miss your flights or just to check in your bag, and it's just, you just don't want to deal with it. Now, when you go in, there are 40 kiosks, one agent. The agent is still there, but they are hovering around the kiosk and helping you if you need help. Otherwise, it's all self. You do it yourself, or you do it through your phone. If there's no bags to check, it's omni-channel, which is you can either do it through your phone, do it through a kiosk, and then there is a security line, which is still painful. But so airports have evolved. Same with the banks. There used to be tellers to deposit cash, to do any transactions. You always had to stand in lines, deposit cash, or do whatever you had to at the bank. Now you just go to the ATM or do it on the phone. I don't know when anybody went to the bank last to talk to a teller, right? So everything is evolved, and then we are like, why not hospitality? And that is where the whole idea came in. Why the restaurants have not evolved? Why has retail not evolved? Why do I have to stand 10 deep to get my burger at lunch? How we can make that more efficient? And it does two things. It helps the restaurant with more throughput and avoid walkaway customers, and it makes the customer happy where I'm not waiting in the line. So at the core, it's all about how I can, this is not the right slide, but how we can actually reduce the labor cost or repurpose the labor, as we call it, and improve customer experience. With COVID, it kind of became more relevant because last year it was like, hey, when we do do I need kiosk? Do I don't need it? Can I try it out? Can I pilot it? Now with COVID, it's like, I don't want to talk to a cashier. People are not coming back to work, and it has become more relevant.
Yeah,
right?
so COVID's created an acceleration of this trend. As consumers, the cardinal sin we can commit is to stand right across from a cashier to place our orders. So the world was moving in an omni-channel direction: order from phone, order from kiosk, order from third-party apps. Now that's accelerated dramatically, and that's the trend with which Grubbrr is tied to.
Right. And kiosk upsell kiosk sell is pretty simple. Always shows up at work, works 24/7, and there is consistent upsell. You can't tell that for every employee or every restaurant, right? And so the sales pitch is pretty straightforward on the kiosk side. There's no complications. Again, we have seen average ticket size go up because we call it the hovering effect, right? So big pictures, beautiful pictures on a 21-inch screen or a 32-inch screen, and I'll show you the renderings or a demo after this, where we are used to Instagram, we are used to Amazon, we are used to seeing more pictures now, and you keep hovering, you get more hungry, or you tend to click more, and that's what we have seen. So your average ticket size goes up anywhere between 12 to 30%, depending on what you're selling and what your upsell is. And your walkaway customers, as we spoke about, if I was seven deep or 8 deep, if I can save the last 2 or the 3 customers who will go now use the kiosk because they see a line, that itself becomes accretive day one, right? If I can save 3 customers a day, it actually pays itself in the first month or less with the ticket size and the walkaway customers alone. So
yeah, the other point I would add is all of these validation points were established by McDonald's, right? They were the leader 5 to 7 years ago in rolling out kiosks. They validated it. They spent over $1 billion doing so. And the time has come, particularly given the COVID environment, to have self-ordering technologies available everywhere, from the one-man operation restaurant to mid-market, all the way up through enterprise. Let's go to the next slide. Yes. Reducing expenses and redeploying resources is a big deal. Think about, in a COVID environment, your municipality or your state tells you you can only have 20% capacity or 50% capacity. that means your gross margins have to expand considerably just to turn a profit or to break even. And to do so, you're going to need automation. You've got to, as a restaurant owner, you've got to redefine yourself and figure out, how am I going to drive efficiencies to the extent that I can be profitable again, especially given the lack that I'm now limited on how many people can actually come in and order from me. Let's go to the next slide.
Again,
customer satisfaction. We're all consumers. How irritated are you when you walk into a place to order something and there's 6 people in front of you? Do you even wait?
Yeah.
How irritated are you when you place an order and it gets something wrong? You know, Amazon has conditioned us as consumers to expect a high degree of order accuracy and you know, one-click purchases, so frictionless. We're effectively extending that same capability to a restaurant, retail, and hospitality space.
Again, some of the market validation points we'll share the deck after this webinar. But again, so Grubbrr is a integrated ecosystem. So we lead with self-ordering kiosk. We do have a KDS. We have a point of sale, because at the SMB level, sometimes they ask for integration, but they would like to see all their orders in one place. We do digital menu boards and pay at the table solution as well, and they're all connected. So you change the menu once and you can see the change across the board. So again, we spoke about the problems we solve, some of the key partnerships. So again, we are hardware agnostic. So we work with every leading manufacturer of hardware for kiosks. In fact, we are one of the primary software go-to partners for them. So either they get us the lead or we get them. If they get us the lead, we get on a call. It's their hardware, our software. Or if we get the lead, we get on a call and they join and they provide the hardware. So we work with everybody. We are not exclusive to any hardware partner. Same with payments. We lead with Freedom Pay because again, it's P2P compliant. It works with every processor out there. We do have a couple of direct integrations with Square, and we are working with Clover and First Data to finish that integration. But we do prefer Freedom Pay because it makes us agnostic.
Right. So let me just address. I think there's going to be a number of ISOs and agents on this call listening. So you'll be able to monetize payments when you install or sell one of our kiosk platforms. And so the way we do that is via Freedom Pay. You still control the mid, so all of that is still flowing. All of those payment revenues or processing revenues are still flowing to you as the ISO agent.
Hey guys, one quick question, because I know that a lot of these guys have access to Clover, a lot of the resellers. What does that look like? Is that a finished integration, or is that something that you're working on currently?
Yes, we are 4 to 6 weeks out. We are actually in our second week of finishing the integration. So there are 2 forms to it. There is also POS integration and payments, and they are working in parallel. So we should have that in the next 4 to 6 weeks, where it's not an app running on the Clover device. It's our standalone kiosk, which will then connect to the Clover POS and Clover payments.
Got it.
Yes.
And then with that, can you add additional hardware? Add like the self-ordering kiosk, the KDS screen, if you're using the Clover, if you want to expand the hardware for the merchant?
Yes, you can.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
That's correct. That's a good question. Yes. So if you have a Grubbrr kiosk, a Clover POS, you can have a Grubbrr KDS, and all the kiosk orders will flow into the KDS or the kitchen printer. So that can be standalone as well. This is one of our pilot installs at Panda. This is in Irvine, California, and this shows pretty much the whole ecosystem. So these are beautiful 32-inch kiosks. We are few ones who have an ADA compliant hardware and software. So the screen comes down 40%. So it only covers 60% of the screen. It actually talks to you. So I'm highlighting that panel. You see that a keyboard buttons. That's actually an ADA panel. So you can put your headphones in, and the kiosk will actually talk to you through this, and it will guide you through the whole experience.
Right. So the consumer experience there is, don't wait in line to see a cashier. Walk up to a kiosk, place an order. You get a receipt. When your order's ready, you'll see your name on the display board above the food lockers, or you'll receive a text message that says your food is ready. You're going to then take the receipt, go up to that food locker, scan the receipt, and locker number 4 or number 5, for example, will open up, grab your food and go.
Right.
So that whole ecosystem, food locker plus kiosk plus order display board or customer facing display are all components within our ecosystem.
Right. And that's where it's different, where you just can't slap a kiosk in a restaurant and say, yeah, it's going to start working. It's also the operations of it. How are you going to fulfill orders? Then, because then restaurants face pickup lines if your throughput increases at the kiosk, and lockers help with that. And post COVID, it's even become more relevant now, where nobody's going to touch your food anymore. Some of the few installs and samples of the UI UX. So we pride ourselves in good UI UX and keeping the customer journey very, very simple. And that's why we differentiate from every other kiosk company, where we don't look like a POS. It's not a landscape 15-inch screen or a 10-inch screen, and just picture slapped on the POS experience. It's truly picture-based. Again, as I said, large pictures, one checkout button, and because it's a true platform, and pizza is one of the toughest things to customize at a POS or at a kiosk level, because you have modifiers upon modifiers, attributes, pricing, and variations. We can handle that on the platform. That's the second picture on the screen. So Blaze Pizza is one of the other pilots which we are going live with. Give me 1 second.
This is us at the Coca-Cola Museum, and these are going to be rolling out also at DFW Airport and Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. So this is for customized merchandise that you'd be able to order from a kiosk, and it would be shipped to you via e-commerce. This is the Smithsonian, so they have a requirement for donations, and we have different themes and different donations depending on the Smithsonian institution that you're at. But you'll see these rolled out across all of their facilities.
Right. So for the ISOs, this become another play where you can go wherever donations is required, churches or temples and other places, and place the kiosk where you can do donations, and you can have your payment processing inside it. Pollo Tropical was another pilot. Again, these are just to give you variations of the UI and the industries we touch in. This was for a casino.
Right. So on the casino, in casinos, you've got a little more complexity. You've got the challenge of a frequent player coming in and wanting to use their player points to redeem for a burger, as an example. We have all of those integrations done. As well, the consumer can pay via credit or debit via the credit card terminal there as well. Yep. This is a case use at Boar's Head Cafe, also at grocery stores. So instead of going to a grocery store, waiting in the deli section, this could be spaced out throughout the grocery store to enable proper social distancing. And then as the consumer, you'll get a text message when your items are ready and you'll go pick them up. Additionally, we did a sandwich builder module here, so you can completely customize your sandwich from the bread selection to the meats to the toppings, etc. And again, all on your own, without being rushed and without standing right next to a lot of other people, which is a big no-no today.
And let me walk you through another. This is just a demo, which I think.
You guys, while you're setting that up, what is your what's the perfect merchant for, these resellers or these groups, selling self-ordering kiosks? I think anybody would obviously love Enterprise. Anybody would love a Blaze Pizza, any of these, QSRs. But do you see the average local merchant now using this because of COVID? In San Francisco, I even walk down the street, you can see like a local deli that is not a chain restaurant is starting to use this. You're seeing that they have these checkout screens right when you walk in, right? They have this self-ordering kiosk. What has been the ideal customer for your salespeople?
So the absolute sweet spot is definitely QSR and fast casual, but even sit-down format, full-service restaurants are using it. And while you can do a bank of kiosks when you walk in, we actually have customers with use cases where they put them on the curb.
Yeah.
So you put them on the curb and you don't want to go in and dine in, and you place the order out there, and then you go back to your car and wait for the food to be brought out to you to the car.
Right.
So the adoption before was just QSR. It's broadened to include full service restaurants now.
So again, this is an example, a live kiosk. So let me start again. So you can play beautiful videos. This can be ads, and that is where you can monetize the kiosk as well. But you can play beautiful food videos, so it attracts you towards the kiosk. You again click on order, click to order, you move forward, you choose your categories and items and pictures. So we usually ask customers on the SMB mid-size, we ask them for pictures. And I will go through the process on how we board merchants. But pictures and the menu are the key items to start the process. And we can talk about that after this slide. But again, super user-friendly. You click on the items, you click on modifiers. It guides you to the ordering process. You choose. You go to the next step. You reconfirm your order. You check out. It's usually pay with cash or pay with credit. This is just a demo mode. You can also add tips. You pay with credit card. It asks you for a name and number. So that's our CRM module. So all this name and phone number, it's your data. So we don't at Grubbrr own that data. We don't market it. It's your data. So as a customer, as a merchant now or a restaurant, now you have your customer's phone number and you can start running promotions. So you can do email receipt. So you don't need you can avoid a printer at the kiosk, and this way you have that email, phone number, and name.
Right. So while everybody's watched that demo, I guess the point I want to emphasize is, many of you on the call go in and have a credit card processing specific conversation. Your customers are having dialogue and conversations about how they can pivot to accommodate a post-COVID world. This is timely for that. So you can let them know that you have a solution, and more importantly, you'll be able to monetize the credit card processing with Grubbrr as well. So you still control the mid, you still get paid on the credit card process.
Right. Just different variations.
And for you guys, and one thing we went over yesterday is we have a lot of specific ISOs on this group that are obviously pretty dominant, and they have obviously some pretty set processing relationships. And then there's a handful of small ISOs and a handful of just even individual agents that want to learn more. So what are some of the kind of the paths, for these groups that are on here and working with you guys?
So we would encourage you guys to reach out to us. We'll take you through, a more in-depth presentation on the capabilities and the components. We'll help you identify what may or may not be a good target audience. And then if it makes sense, we'll go ahead and sign you guys up as referral agents. As you see on the screen, we're effectively paying a one-time hardware commission of 10% and a recurring SaaS fee of 10% to our referral partners. And then again, it's not shown here, but you would continue to monetize the credit card processing as a function of any transactions that happen via the kiosk.
Right. So we don't, it would be your mid.
So that's great. So basically anybody can start working with you right away. They submit a link, they submit a lead, and then they can get 10% of the SaaS hardware, and then obviously the payments. And then if you guys want to be a reseller, I imagine there'll be heavier minimums and obviously a more defined relationship. So it looks like they've come up with a really good way just to get you started, and obviously see this as a good fit for you as well. But I think they said it very, very clearly that, with COVID going on, this has been very, it's very time sensitive, that a lot of these groups are looking for how to, take orders without obviously, passing credit cards back and forth, and obviously, without having to touch the credit card terminal that everyone else has touched, right? So doing it over the phone, they have that great option. The touch screen can be obviously cleaned really quickly. So that's a really good option for the business owners, again, without having to do hand-to-hand contact. So a lot of great things here with the Grubbrr. And I will make sure to get this deck out to everybody who's on here, and we'll also blast it to everyone who basically signed up along with this recording. I just saw a question about that. Just want to make sure. And then this is Behaven's email. So just reach out to him if you want to become a reseller or just start submitting the information. does Grubbrr have some good sales material for these groups to get started to kind of do some education on their own?
We do. We've got good materials that we can send out as well.
Yes.
There's quite a bit of depth to and a lot of components. So we would like to do it in a structured way where we take you through our training so that there's no confusion and you don't missell something that you misunderstood.
Awesome. Okay, makes sense. Any questions? Feel free to write them into the questions tab. I think a few of the questions that I had were just basically around how kind of groups get started, start self-educating, and obviously get involved. And I know that you guys have had a lot of success with the average merchant, just the SMB merchant, as well as the franchises and the different QSR chains. So if you guys have a really big strategic account, I think it would be a good opportunity to get the conversation started early with their team and find a way to obviously get them in the door and start implementing these self-ordering kiosks. Anything else from the Grubbrr team, or anything I can any other comments you want to leave with today, or other information we can share with the channel?
No, I guess one other point I would emphasize is we're platform agnostic. So if you have a merchant that's running Xenial, Micros, NCR, whatever the case may be, we do have the ability to integrate to them. So it's not a conversation of tear out everything and replace everything with Grubbrr.
Correct.
We have the ability to implement Grubbrr, any of its ecosystem components, while allowing merchants to maintain the investment they have in their legacy systems.
Got it. Okay. And I just got a question on what the commission share is for resellers. Again, guys, reach out to them. They'll work with you directly based on the size. The referrals are pretty straightforward, 10% on the SaaS, 10% on the hardware. And then with the payments for the resellers specifically, if you want to be a reseller, they'll have different commission structures based on your size and what maybe what minimums you're paying up front or sales that you have up front. So reach out to them and they'll definitely go over that based on your size. And I think that, again, with the referral structure versus their reseller structure, they can work with any of you, based on your size. And then can you just go back to your contact information one more time for the screen, and then I will, I'll make sure this deck gets out to everybody.
There it is, and we'll send you the deck. It's bhavin.asher@grubbrr.com. Yeah, and you can also reach you can reach out on our chat as well. So we have an inside sales team and an onboarding team, so we are always available. You can reach out through any channel. Okay, perfect. Yeah, guys, feel free to reach out. Just reference the webinar. And then again, I'll make sure you get all this kind of information. For the Grubbrr team, thank you so much. Really do appreciate the time today. It was awesome learning about the product a little bit more, and then obviously getting our channel more exposure. So I really do appreciate the time, and I'll make sure that this goes out to everybody who's registered for today. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you again, guys.
No problem. All right, guys, I'm going to switch over real quickly. We're going to have our second guest. I'm going to give him some controls. Give me 1 second. I have Ryan Gibbs from AMP, which is Advanced Mobile Payments. And basically, they have brought their smart terminals to North America, Canada, and the US, and they've had a lot of success internationally. So really excited to hear more about their smart terminals. They had some synergies with the previous guests we just had, where they do have a lot of hardware that is, for the purpose of self-ordering or contactless payments. So excited to have Ryan on. Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, Joey, thanks for the introduction. Good morning,
no
everyone.
Problem. So, and we can see your screen, and I can hear you just fine. So thanks for joining today, and feel free to take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, that was a great section from Grubbrr as well. And I think that anybody who's interested in kiosks and self-ordering, we can also bring a technology provider perspective onto that as well. So I think let's get started and have a look. All right. So I don't know, AMP might be a new brand to some of you. We're a technology provider, so you can think of us as a terminal brand and a little bit more than that. We're extremely focused on payments and specifically collaboration in payments. So we come to market, we have an entire line of smart terminals and solutions to back those up, and a very strong focus on integration. But the way we handle our business and the way we go about things is really rooted in collaboration. And we see the payments industry changing a lot. And the point of sale is, even with our last guest with Grubbrr, you can see so many different people are sitting in that transaction flow at the end, or the customer interaction. There's so many pressures from omni-channel, from gift, from loyalty. And so we've tried to build an entire hardware and software ecosystem that supports this new collaborative multi-tenant payment experience. So today I'm going to take you through our smart platform a little bit, with some special consideration around this kind of new era of omni-channel, order ahead, and contactless payment, and how we as a hardware provider and software provider are tackling that to bring more value to merchants and some new solutions to market. So just so everyone kind of sees where we're coming from, here's a quick overview of some of our partners. So we're fully certified from everything on the card brand side and PCI and EMV level 1 and 2. Processors, we work with TSYS, First Data, PayFacto, Global. Of course, we support all the mobile wallets, including Alipay and WeChat Pay. It's been very crucial to us that we include alternative payments and give them as much time of day as the traditional EMV channels. And for distribution, we work with all kind of there's even a larger list than this, but all the biggest players in North America. So as Joey mentioned earlier, we're a little newer to the North American space. We've had a lot of success in rest of the world, Middle East, Africa. But now we're here, we're very focused on North American market, and we're headquartered out of Toronto, Canada, where I am today. So let's get into our smart terminals. Really, the most important thing to understand is we've built this all around our smart POS platform. So what that is it's a proprietary lockdown version of Android. And we've built it so that payments integration, third-party software, cloud integration, everything can work really seamlessly on the device and bring extra value to merchants, to ISOs, especially to ISVs and VARs, and of course, the end customer using the device. So that platform is kind of what props up our entire product vision. So we have a complete family of devices that use that platform. So everything from portable terminals, all touchscreen smart terminals, up to our secure unattended, which we're going to talk a bit more about. We have countertop POS that also runs on Android and cloud. And we have an Android terminal kiosk as well. So when it comes to focusing on verticals, we actually try and make it so that our platform supports what our partners want to do. So hospitality, service, nightlife, retail. We don't package or change our hardware and software to nail into these verticals. What we try and do is open up our ecosystem so that our partners can come and tell us, hey, we're going for this vertical. And we back it up with the secure payments knowledge and the secure payments technology, and they can kind of bring and dial in their own customer experience to make things exactly the way they are. We know that we can't perfectly do the UI, the UX, the customer journey for every different market vertical. So what we try and do is make the secure portion of payments and the hardware side of things more accessible for others to deliver those kind of tailored, bespoke experiences. So this is one of our flagship products. It's our 5.5-inch Android handheld. So this one can be desktop as well. You can see in the bottom right there, it actually comes with a QR code scanner. So you can do completely touch-free scanning if you want to do gift, loyalty, alternative payments, anything like that. As well as it has pin-on glass, front and rear-facing cameras. Of course, everything is NFC. So you have tap, swipe, dip, everything you want. And the beauty of it is this would be kind of the benchmark device, but anything you develop or design to run on this terminal easily ports across our entire product ecosystem. And that's one of our distinct advantages. We didn't kind of shoehorn that in after, right down to how our terminal is manufactured. We have two separate processors. One is secure for the EMV and the kernel portion, and then we have one that's going to power the beautiful experiences and the video and the high-res screen. So we kind of are set up from that right from the foundations. Our special focus, and this kind of ties into Joey's theme of contactless, but our special focus in the last 2 years has been around EMV unattended. So this says fuel pumps, but really it's everything you can imagine. Vending, car washes, the kiosks that we were just talking about, laundromats, drive-throughs, ticketing, storage. Unattended is kind of a market that's ripe to be tapped. There's 2 million unattended devices in the US right now, and 90% of them are still non-EMV. So we want to not only enable people to upgrade to EMV, but to upgrade right past that. Now you have a front-facing camera. You can do QR payment. You can do facial recognition. You can snap pictures of people who are maybe opening a locker. We want to kind of open up that ecosystem and really skip a whole generation. So that would be fuel pumps, self-service, vending, parking, and this again all runs on the same platform, the same hardware and software as on our indoor device or our portable device. And this is really kind of our favorite crown jewel product that we have right now. This is our 6500. So it looks a lot like any other, touchscreen Android terminal. The difference is that it's outdoor rated, ballistic plastic, 6mm glass. You put it in direct sunlight, it's vandal resistant, but you still get this beautiful experience that feels like you're using a smartphone that can play video and advertise to customers as they come up. So this is really a specialty product that we're extremely proud of. That we're bringing to market right now. So I could talk a little bit about how this is enabling experiences, especially in the COVID era and moving forward. We think that contactless and unattended together, just like Grubbrr mentioned with kiosks, we think that can be expanded to all kinds of experiences. So our smart unattended, and this applies to the specialty device, it's, you have the total security. You can take any payment, EMV, through any alternative. It's waterproof. It integrates hardware and software. User experience is extremely important to us. We think Android props up a good user experience, and really whether that's in unattended or attended, making sure that things are branded to your customer or branded to the loyalty platform or just even explained really well. It's super important for better customer engagement, better stickiness, and higher ticket prices. It has great connectivity. Our devices are eco-conscious. They can even run on a solar panel. And it has a bunch of extra features that we won't dive into today. But what's great about the 6500 device is it's actually an unattended brain. So you could take this, throw it into something like a vending machine, and it can run all the controls. It is an MDB master, so it can turn on lights, check sensors. So this opens up a whole range of new opportunities. We have our own kiosk here as well. It's a simple Android kiosk that you can build a fully running Android or cloud-based app to run on that, and it'll talk directly to our Android terminal. But really, it's the 6500 device that's running this experience. Even if you wanted to run a parking lot, you can open up arms, turn on lights. So this is the way we approach our hardware and software. We like to make sure that we have really open borders. So you can come in, you can choose your hardware, you can choose your accessories, you can choose the way you want to do your software, your loyalty program. And we try and tie that all in together. And then you kind of just choose the hardware you need. So it's a bit of a different approach to being a technology provider, but we're finding it's one that's very well aligned with how things are moving in the industry. And so given that, I'd like to kind of show you through a little bit okay, so you've seen the hardware a little bit. How does that tie into our software? So when we're looking at our smart ecosystem, one thing that we have is that we've tied all of our services together because, when it comes to being a hardware provider, there's terminal management. You have things like a marketplace for apps, key injection, integrations. We've tried to bring that all together. So we're releasing a platform very shortly, which all of these backend services are tied together. And whether you are going to manage your own batch of terminals, if you have agents underneath your ISO who want to manage those, all of it can be done from a single place, and you can manage the whole smart ecosystem. So attended, unattended, everything kind of blends together. And becomes a little more agnostic. You can just manage AMP products from a single place. And this is actually where Boomtown comes into it a little bit as well. So part of our core support strategy is to have Boomtown and both their services and their platform integrated on the back end for us, so that as we scale and move software and hardware between all these different verticals and all these different use cases, we have a support that can back us up that's completely smart based. It can be deployed to our terminals. And we find it's kind of perfectly aligned with the way that we want to go to market. Because now if you have an AMP terminal out in the field, you can talk directly to a chatbot on that smart terminal. You can text, you can talk to a live agent, whatever you want to do. I mean, there's so many capabilities in the smart terminal. Why not use them natively? So that's one of the success cases we've seen, especially working with Boomtown. But when it comes to software in general, the way we see things is a little different. So if you're familiar with other smart marketplaces, what some of them do is like allow a giant a la carte selection to merchants. They can kind of scroll through and grab whatever apps they want. we use our marketplace as kind of a closed off sandbox where if a partner comes to us, they can tell us what integrations they want. Maybe some already exist in kind of our master playpen. But if they don't, we can come integrate very quickly. And now you deploy just the third party or specialty apps and services you want directly to that terminal. So that's how our marketplace is working. And it's really propped up by our approach to semi-integration. So as you can see in the center box there, we have an integration layer that's inside the device, inside any device on the smart platform, and talks to our payment app. So any POS system or cloud-based POS, even people who are running iOS and tablet-based solutions now, companies like Ben, they're able to come talk to our integration layer, and that secure communication is kept within this secure environment, but anything you do with the merchant can easily be brought to the forefront of the smart platform without impacting EMV or PCI scope. So an example of this modular style of payment app I can give you is, imagine you're using our payment application. Halfway through the actual payment flow, you want to take a loyalty card. Our app allows the experience to bounce out, call the loyalty application, maybe they scan a barcode or a QR or type in their phone number, and it goes straight back into the payments. Or the other way around, people are enrolling and then you pop up the payments. We've made it so that the payment experience is no longer a solid end-to-end block of time that a consumer or a merchant has to deal with. It's now something a lot more flexible. And this is key to us about our smart platform, is that you can come on our device, bring anything you want, any kind of multimedia experience, and then pop up the payments just at the right time to, you know, make the better conversion or increase the ticket prices, or, you know, facilitate an unattended experience. And all of it is secure and P2PE encrypted if we're going to a processor. We work with Bluefin on the P2PE side. So really that's how we like to see things. We want to be this really flexible payment option where you come and you dictate what's that customer experience, how are you selling this, who's your audience. We don't want to dictate any of that and have this awkward, clunky, you know, EMV payment solution that really kind of breaks your customer's train of thought. So just a quick look at kind of our broader ecosystem. So we have our certified payment solution, which is accepting all card brands on the terminal. We have our Android and Windows POS, which is that larger device you saw that does full POS applications and cloud POS. We have our kiosk solution that can be either a hardware or software solution. It depends on what partners are looking for. We have our smart platform, which is the actual OS. Our integration layer, which we just talked about, that at a state management tool, which is the full one is releasing soon, that kind of clicks the whole ecosystem together, and then enhanced services, including things like the Boomtown on-terminal support. So really, we've come to this entire thing looking at the industry like, okay, if we're going to enter as a technology provider, do we want to say, hey, this is the AMP experience, this is how you use our devices, you have to do A, B, C, and make it really hard to integrate? No way. We want to come with a beautiful device with a really easy to use and very secure payment application, and then let you tell us and tell your customers how you want things to be. So especially when it comes to contactless payments and alternative payments, I mean, this is something that we've been ready for years, and we're really pushing for it. We hope that more big card brands pick up QR payment loops and that customers start transitioning over to contactless more and more. It's great, secure technology, and we can't wait to see where it goes in the future. So that kind of wraps up an overview of us and what we bring to market. But really the power with us is working with partners. So we're always looking for creative new ways to deploy an unattended or an in-store or a kiosk solution. And yeah, so thank you very much. When it comes to actually working with us, because we're looking for these kind of partners with great ideas, all you have to do is contact our sales. We'll walk you through whatever integrations you need to do and get you set up, get you a test terminal. There's no automated process for that. It's just fairly straightforward, and I can get Joey to just sales at A Mobile Payment, but I'll make sure that information is available too after this recording. So thank you very
absolutely.
much.
And feel free to reach out to me, guys. And if you want to get in touch right away, I can get you in touch with Ryan. And then also I'll send out this deck contact information, the recording, as I mentioned before when Grubbrr was speaking, that you guys have all this information. But Ryan, that was great. Really, really do appreciate it. one thing I wanted to kind of talk about, Ryan, is to get started with your group. What are some of the things that you're looking for in a reseller, ISO, bank, groups that are selling your terminals? Are you looking for a group that already has a software, or are you looking for groups that just really want to sell payments on your terminal? And what I mean by already have a software, which means that they have their own terminal application, they have their own ISV solution. Would love a little bit about your landscape and the partners that you're working with.
That's a great question. So we actually have different channels ready for both those scenarios. So for when it comes to ISVs, since we're building out this technological marketplace, of course we're aggressively looking for ISV partners to come and run on our devices. But we're not necessarily looking for people who already have an app and an experience. Our devices do have the full payment experience on them, and we have some exciting products releasing next year that actually let you build campaigns directly on our device with no third-party software. So if you want to set up custom receipts, you want to set up like a little loyalty program, you want to show a video, you want to do a survey or a quiz, we're going to have these things natively running, no third-party app, no AMP external app. Coming very soon. So, we have lots of ISOs who come and either they've built an app for something like a cash discounting style program. That's a great use case for us. It's super fast. But if people don't have apps, that's no barrier at all. Our technology is flexible. Everything's built on Android. So easy to customize the UI or change the flow. That's the point. We don't need people to physically have anything. It's they just have to have the idea and what they want to do, and their merchant's problem in mind to solve.
Okay, awesome. No, that's super helpful. And one thing I wanted to show you guys, when he was talking about the SDK, this is the SDK that we're putting on their terminals, and you can see that we've done it with other kind of smart terminals, and now we basically have it on AMP, where it's kind of you can even white label it for your group. You can have like an AMP button where they press it and they can chat with the Boomtown team. They can chat with your team if you guys are doing your own support. I think one of the big things about our SDK is they can search for knowledge, so they can go in there and they can actually not just speak with a representative, but go through and actually search for universal knowledge that we have in our SDK. So it's kind of a call me button, right? A lot of restaurants will use it as somebody. If I'll go back to that first slide, somebody just call us. It'll create a ticket for our team, or if they actually want to chat with someone through the terminal, maybe it's a bigger screen like the self-ordering kiosk that Ryan was showing. They can actually do that right through the screen. So we've built this SDK. It's really easy to use. Again, you can have all the tickets go to your team or all the tickets go to Boomtown in the case that we're doing support for you. But just want to give you guys a little bit more of a visual on what that looks like and what Ryan was speaking about. We're really excited to work more with AMP. They've been using our support software to build out this SDK, and then the universal knowledge. So sales reps or merchants can obtain that knowledge when they're out in the field, and if they have quick questions, they don't have to call someone either. Ryan, anything else you want to share with the group today, or that we can, anything else about AMP that's going on?
No, not really. I mean, other than the fact that we're big supporters of alternative payments and contactless. So this unexpected momentum that's come with COVID and with the way that POS is changing, we're really not seeing this as a threat. I mean, there's crazy amount of things going on in the industry, whether it's mergers or acquisitions, and I think we're positioned very well to focus on people's individual needs and solve smaller problems. I mean, we're at a scale and a speed where we don't kind of steamroll anybody. We really listen and try and make adjustments and solve individuals' problems. So I guess that would be an important thing to add in. Other than that, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And obviously look forward to working together a little bit more and getting more of our partners involved.
Thank you, Joey.
All right, guys, going to close it out with a few different updates. Give me 1 second. Let me just get rid of this. I think cancel. You should see my screen. I'm going to go to the next. Sorry, I have a little bug on my screen. Okay, basically going to go through a few different updates. Point does have a new HQ for the merchants. I wanted to show our resellers what this looks like. So give me one moment, and I'm going to pop over to my Google Chrome, and you should see my screen now. So when the merchant logs into Point, and you guys can also see this view. If you log into your Point Reseller Hub and you actually say View as Merchant, you can actually look at what this looks like. But when you log in, you can actually see that they've completely changed the UI. And I'm just going to go through a few different things. You guys are very obviously accustomed to the dashboard, transactions, settlements. The customers tab is really important, where they're actually tracking customer spend. and they can actually go in here. You can create an invoice, add a card. There are new features, as you can see, invoices, accounting with the QuickBooks integration. They've redefined that QuickBooks integration. I know that some people have had trouble with that in the past. They do have point capital here still. I want to go over that and just let you know that if you want to make money on the actual point capital program, I have the contacts to get in touch with Point. And then messaging, where basically you can actually message your customers if they respond to an emailed receipt or an SMS receipt. But most importantly, wanted to show you what this looks like, because a lot of people have been asking about, why their merchants are getting approached to pay more for their Point native software. Point does have more advanced features like the invoicing or the loyalty feature. They do start at $14.99 a month, and it goes up to $39.99 a month. Basically, if you have advanced register where you have over 575 items, or if you want logo and digital receipts, you have the ability to upgrade to these platforms. But what's also nice about this new UI is that you can go in here and you can actually buy by feature. So if you want to do virtual terminal or invoices, and you want to just pay for that one feature, you can actually do the free trial and then pay for that one feature without actually subscribing to one of the packages. The next is they actually put the third-party apps in here, which I thought was very smart. So you can go through here and learn about the third-party apps based on obviously what your merchant needs. But this is all in the view of the merchant, so it's not like a mystery. They don't have to find these third-party apps only on their terminal. It's available on the new UI. So I would say if you are a Point reseller, go in here and check it out. Again, just go to your Point hub and then go to one of your merchants, say view as merchants, and you can actually walk through the new UI, which I think is very helpful. It makes a lot more sense. There's a lot more clarity, and it's more informative on how to actually upgrade to the additional features that you see available, as I mentioned, like virtual terminal or invoicing. I'm going to go back to the deck real fast. Give me 1 second. And then the other thing is cash discount is now available on Flexible Mobile. So it's only been available on the PAX terminal, the A920 and the A80, but they actually have cash discount available on mobile and virtual terminal. I have not seen that before, so I'm sure other groups have maybe seen cash discount available on a mobile terminal for an Android or iPhone or a virtual terminal. But pretty neat to see that they've actually had the cash discount now available on these products. So if you're in our reseller channel, you get access to that. Just shoot me a note if you do not know much about it or need access. The way it works is pretty straightforward. When you click cash, you basically can apply or do not apply the cash adjustment, and then you can actually customize the adjustment name. So if you have some different, let's just say different, in different states they have different laws on what cash discount needs to be called. Some even still call it surcharge. But if it's a true cash discount, you can actually go in there and just say cash discount or apply whatever name you want for the charge. So this was available on the PAX A920 and the A80. This is now available on mobile and virtual terminal in the Boomtown channel, which is pretty exciting. Besides that, that's basically it for today. I have my contact information below. I will make sure to send out the deck and recording to everyone, and then feel free to get in touch if you need anything from me. Really appreciate everybody's time. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk with you all soon.